Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to TechGig webinar series, our endeavor to impart techies. We believe that sharing of knowledge is the key to enhance our skills and grow us as professionals. With this principle in mind, we have initiated a series of webinars conducted by industry experts to give you all a crisp insight of various domains. The topic of today's session is Unlocking the Potential of Enterprise Content. Our guest speaker today is Mr. Arpan Bansal, General Manager, Head Enterprise Content Management and Government COE, Newgen Software Technologies. As Head of Center of Excellence for Enterprise Content Management and Government Vertical at Newgen Software Technologies Limited, Arpan is responsible for high-end consulting, analyst relationship and product roadmap for ECN. His role as a Government COE Head is to nurture government business globally. Prior to his current role, he led some of the largest ECM deployments for prestigious customers and led the development of Newgen's flagship ECM product. He has more than 14 years of industry experience and has done his engineering in electronics from Ujjain Engineering College. So without further delay, I introduce you all to our guest speaker. Over to you, Mr. Arpan.
Good afternoon, friends. On the outset, I would like to thank you for taking out time to attend this webinar. This is a privilege for me. So this is the agenda for today's webinar. The idea is to give you a good perspective about enterprise content management. I'm sure that it has takeaway for everybody, including beginners, professionals, architects, business users, and decision makers. So 3 W's and 1 H here stands for what is content, why do we need content management, and how to manage the content, which is about enterprise content management, and where do we go from here, which is about the future trends and technologies. So let's begin with understanding what the content is. So content is knowledge, information, and record stored in paper, images, spreadsheet, word processor, so on and so forth. In enterprise content management taxonomy, the content is classified broadly as 3 things. One is transactional content, second is collaborative content, and third is persuasive content. So simple definitions are: transactional content is the content which comes from outside the organization. For example, if you open a bank account, you submit your application form and supporting documents. So this becomes the transactional content for bank because it is coming from outside the bank. And collaborative content is the content which is generated within the organization through collaborative process. So examples are memo, policy, proposal creation, so on and so forth. Third part of the third classification of the content is persuasive content. It is the content which goes from organization to outside stakeholders, mainly customers. So the examples are statement, correspondences, and so on and so forth. So let's also look at one more important distinction about content, which is classifying content in terms of structured content and unstructured content. So typically information is unstructured. Unstructured information can be documents and other form of data that are not easily stored and managed in a structured database. Further, unstructured content can again be classified as static content and dynamic content. So typically, static content is the scanned image that does not change over a period of time, for which essentially new revised versions are not required. On the other hand, dynamic content is the content like Microsoft Word document, which will be edited, reviewed, revised, and the versions will be required to maintain. So in summary, the content, the spectrum for content is much larger, and nowadays things like email, XML files, instant messages, audio file, video file, a lot of these type of content is also comes under the domain of content management. So this was, a perspective about what the content is. Now let us also look at some of the problems that organizations face while they manage this content. So few basic things are that content is everywhere. It exists in the form of paper, it exists in the form of emails at email server, it exists in business systems, it exists in local repositories, in small work group sites. So there are a number of locations where it exists. Second point is that it exists in volumes and it's stored at multiple places. So the core issue is that retrieval of information at right time is with minimal effort is a challenge, and there are risks of missing out on important inputs. Wear and tear if it is a paper, and leakage of confidential information if not properly protected are some other important concerns. Another key thing is that very often these contents are not in coordination with business goals. And this is a very important point. So let's understand it in more detail, because this will help us to understand the business drivers of enterprise content management better. Cost, compliance, and customer satisfaction is a golden triangle for any organization. Every organization aspires to do well at all these important fronts, and content management becomes an important instrument to achieve these goals. There are some direct items and some indirect items with respect to content management and these three important things. And all of these are equally important. So let's understand more about this. So let us take an example of cost and productivity. So reduction in cost or increase in productivity comes, one of the important driver is centralization. So this would mean that suppose a bank or any financial institute, they will all have multiple branches and agent network to work with. Suppose a customer goes to a bank and try to open an account with the bank. So what he will do, he will submit his documents along with application form either to agent or in the branch. And this document will have to go through a verification process before the account is activated. Now the companies who are now entering in the market or they are in the market already, what they are trying to do is they are trying to centralize their back office so that they can optimize their resources. So the collection, so this is also known as lean branch concept, where the collection of information, documents submitted by a customer can be done at branch locations, but the processing of those documents, say for example verification check, is done at a central, through a central infrastructure. Now to be able to do this and able to do this in a time-bound way, what they will have to do is that they would need a framework or infrastructure to transport all this information as quickly as possible to central location. And this is where the enterprise content management will come in. So scanning those documents at branches and routing them in a workflow to central location and enabling a collaborative processing at central location is one example. Now similarly, customer satisfaction is another key part. So I'm just taking one example to make the point more clear. Customer satisfaction would mean that how quickly and how accurately you serve your customer. And to be able to do this, you will need to have all the information with you when the customer comes to you through any communication channel. And the information range would be very wide. It will have the documents which belongs to customer, it will have the communication which has happened with the customer in past, and so on and so forth. The other key part is compliance, and the compliance comes from auditability of the system, which means that producing correct information during the audit. And there are several other complex dimensions also which cannot be managed without electronic system. Indirect items are related to making multiple copies of document, using premium real estate as document store, so on and so forth. And these are also equally important. And we all know that it has a lot to do with environment protection as well. So just to summarize here, that we have enough, or every organization has enough compelling need to go for enterprise content management, and these technologies are applicable to every organization. So now let's understand what enterprise content management is all about. Managing content effectively means considering its full life cycle. Acquisition and capture would mean that either authoring the content or acquiring it from various different sources. Review and approval is the processing of that content. Delivering means the publishing or delivering it to the stakeholder of the content. And archiving would mean long-term retention and preserving this content for future purposes. Enterprise content management is the set of technologies used to capture, manage, store, preserve, and deliver the content and documents related to organizational processes. Now let's take a deep dive into some of the important components of enterprise content management so that we all understand it in detail. So for keeping it simple to understand, I would follow the similar analogy of the content life cycle. So let us begin with how the content is captured. So this example is how the content is captured through paper. In the countries like India, paper is one of the predominant content that we see around. Every organization has to deal a lot with the paper in day-to-day basis. So technology here can do things like automatic segregation of paper, automatic extraction of data from using ICR, OCR technology through paper, providing an option of image-assisted data entry where the indexes can be applied in an image-assisted data mode, where the data entry operator can see the image on the right-hand side. Second example of acquisition is how an end user can acquire this content through Office application. So here what you see on your screen is a user is archiving an email right from his email inbox directly to the content repository. Similarly, it can be done through Office application or any other application, any Office application, Microsoft Word or PowerPoint presentation. Third option which I would like to highlight here is about how the content is captured through smartphones and mobile devices. Now this is an example of contemporary technology. So here what organizations are doing is that instead of using the traditional way of bringing all the paper document to branches and scanning them and then sending it to central location, they can appoint, or their sales agent can carry a tablet or a smartphone. They can take the photograph of all those documents, can access the application right from their mobile phone, can do the basic indexing and send it in the workflow right from their mobile phones. So this is one innovative way of how the content capture can be done. So post acquiring this content, the content has to be managed and organized and classified and put as per the organizational policies. This is where the document management comes in. Now what you see on your screen is the view of a repository. So content here can be classified as per the business need or organizational hierarchy, and the content then can be stored in terms of folders and the access permission, sharing of content, managing in terms of creating versions, access permission, who can see what section of repository, all this that is managed here. And then user will have options to quickly retrieve this information for his for processing his work. So he will have things like, searching a document on the basis of indexes, searching a document on the basis of content within the document. So this is where the document management plays a key role in content management portfolio. So moving on from here, we go to the workflow section of content management. Now workflow is integral and most important part of content management. Workflow can range from as simple as maker checker to medium complex like approval routing to a complex multi-step processing which cut across multiple systems. Workflow requires process modeling, which is about graphically designing a workflow, rules configuration, forms development for capturing data, and workflow initiation, and also integration with other systems, using, of course, service-oriented architecture and web services. Along with all this, the monitoring dashboard is also essential in terms of that it gives a real-time visibility into all the processes or all the workflows that you deploy on enterprise content management framework. I just want to put more emphasis on workflow designing aspect, because often I have seen that it is not well understood in terms of what graphical designing of a process means. So what you see on your screen is a two-step process. Similarly, a multi-step process can also be designed. So here idea is that unlike the traditional approach of coding and following SDLC, which is software development lifecycle for every new workflow, what you do is that you start and configure or model a workflow from these interfaces, and then this can be deployed in the production and can be used by all the users. It gives one more layer of platform or abstraction on top of operating system and database. Business users or IT of customer can take charge with minimal or no dependency of vendor. So moving on to the next component of enterprise content management, what you see is record management. Now record management idea is to preserve the content for long term. Here things like retention policies, disposition policies, warehouse management, physical tracking of content becomes very, very important. So with record management in place, organizations can be sure of 100% compliance and forget about any hiccups while the audit comes in. The spectrum of content management is much larger. To keep today's session simple, I kept more focus on basic and core components, but I would just like to touch upon some additional component which comes under the spectrum of enterprise content management. So output management is for generating outbound documents. So statement is one example, certificates is another example. So it is like this, that output of any transactional interaction with any organization, if it is in the form of document which goes back to customer or citizen, and if say bank generate statements periodically to to all their customers. So this is one example. So this is where output management technology comes in, which can collate data from multiple sources, can generate outbound document and send it to the customer. Digital asset management is another important part, which is about how you manage the audio-video files, which includes providing repository services, providing online streaming for those, format transformation, and record management services for digital assets. Web content management, we generally understand. It is about how you create portal, how you create your website, and how do you then further manage the content which goes there. E-discovery and federation is about how prepared are you for any litigation when any such thing comes up, how ready organization is to search and retrieve data from multiple sources and produce it to attorneys or to court. So till now it was about functional aspect of enterprise content management, but I know that I have a lot of technical people and architects in the forum today. And it will be important for me to talk about key technical imperatives of enterprise content management as well. So I'll quickly touch upon those aspects also. So GUI composition is the flexibility that is needed in the platform to meet application and end user personalization requirements. It is about ability to quickly configure and customize end user interfaces. Platform independent architecture makes it possible to protect existing investments of customer. It means that customer can deploy these technologies on platform of his choice, and the core capability comes through the compliance with J2E architecture. Integration ready architecture is another important aspect. ECM has now become IT infrastructure for most of the organizations. So it not only serves end users, but it also serves systems, multiple systems. So integration with core applications, portal, email server, office applications are important. And service-oriented architecture and web services are the foundational enabler to achieve this. Open standards are for interoperability, and multilingual ability is to serve end user in his language. So there are situations when enterprise content management is deployed in multi-country mode, where the single instance of application will serve multiple languages. Just to give an example here, we have an implementation for EcoBank Ghana, where our system runs in Spanish, Portuguese, French, English, and English in the same time. And this capability comes through the support of Unicode. Scalability means ability to serve more users, more transactions, and more documents without changing the application and with the upgrade of hardware infrastructure. I am covering a case study today which hosts more than 8 billion documents and which is used by more than 25,000 users. Security is another important aspect and achieved through internal and external means. HTTPS, digital signature, LDAP integration, server hardening are some important instruments. Just to quickly touch upon imaging aspects also, it becomes important when the paper documents are there in the system. So ability to scan, ability to view those scanned documents in the viewer, and extraction of content through paper are the important one to consider. So this was about functional and technical imperatives of enterprise content management. So the message here is that enterprise content management is for every organization. Every organization in any vertical invariably needs enterprise content management. ECM is a broad term and covers many technologies, but there is always flexibility available. Option may vary as per the size of the organization. Say for example, a small or medium organization can start small with say only document management system, where the documents are scanned and stored in document management system and retrieved by multiple users. And they can then upgrade their infrastructure as they grow to include workflows, to include digital asset management, web content management, business process management, so on and so forth. And now these options are also available on the cloud. Newgen also has ECM offering on cloud, which is hosted on Amazon Cloud. And Amazon is number one in terms of cloud infrastructure in the world. For more information on cloud, you can visit our website, which is www.newgensoft.com. So, as I said in my earlier slide, that enterprise content management is for every organization. And this is just a quick perspective of how industry is leveraging these technologies. Banking, insurance, financial institutes, BPO, government, and manufacturing are leading the front, while every other organizations are also using. So banking, you have everything like retail, trade finance, loan origination. And for more information on these subjects, you can visit our website. So the case study that I am covering today is for a very large enterprise, and this organization is among the largest insurance player in the world. A quick overview of organizational spread is that it has more than 2,100 branches all across the country, with 100 divisional offices and 7 zonal offices and 1 headquarter. They have about 350 millions of customers and customer files, which amounts to 8 billions of documents. So this is about why they were needing enterprise content management. And a very quick interesting story. Long back in 2006, we did a POC for one of its branches, where we created a repository for all documents of that branch. Incidentally, the basement and ground floor, which was used to store these documents, got sunk in 2007 flood. They approached us to help them if we could retrieve some of those documents using the POC data that we did for them, and we successfully, retrieved all those documents, and it was a big savior. And that is when the project took flight. So this was just to highlight, how risky is if you are totally dependent on paper. The other aspect with respect to customer service is that they have huge spread of branches, and every customer has to visit his parent branch every time if he needs any servicing. And their vision was to have anytime, anywhere servicing, where the customer can visit any branch, or from his home he can avail those services. With respect to cost, they have offices at all these premium locations like Santa Cruz, Connaught Place. So most of these locations were just wasted in terms of storing those documents. So now with our system, when the documents are scanned, they are not returned to the branches, but they are sent back to a remote record management facility, which is built at a much cheaper location. Now this is what we have done for them. So we have created a content management repository, which is hosting more than 8 billion documents. It is used by more than 25,000 users. It is integrated with their core application. A complete warehouse and record management system is deployed on top of it. And with the help of our system, their vision of anytime, anywhere services has been achieved. And for those who are tech savvy, this is also a very unique implementation in terms of that it is completely done using open source platforms. So database is PostgreSQL, operating system is Red Hat Linux, and server and even the browser that they use is on Linux desktop, Mozilla and Firefox. So till now we have seen why do we need ECM, what ECM is all about, including a case study to understand it in more detail. Now let us also, see where are we going from here and what are the key trends and technologies, key trends in this domain. So these are what you see on your screen are some powerful drivers which are shaping up the innovation and new trends in ECM. Mobile and tablet has opened up new ways of working. As I said earlier, agent in the field can directly capture documents, photographs, and data of a customer through his mobile device. People from senior management can access content and take decisions while they are on the move. So this is how mobile is making a difference. Social interactions in Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, TechGig are generating a lot of opportunities for organizations to better connect with their customers, market new products, gather service feedback. A lot of innovation and experiments are taking place in this area. Content management has a lot to contribute in this revolution. Some examples are content analysis, which is also popularly known as sentiment analysis, and archiving this content, whatever interaction is there which results into some impact on our business, archiving them for long-term retention purpose and for compliance purpose. Cloud is also a paradigm shift, and we are witnessing that this is making these technologies more affordable to the organization. Last but not the least, content is increasing every day, and analytics is playing a key role in making organizations use this content in better way. Because now they can, draw a lot of interpretation which can help them to take better decisions. So this was about enterprise content management, about how companies are using these technologies, what are the key trends in this area. And before I sort of complete this session, I would just like to give a quick overview of my organization. So Newgen Software is a product company very focused in enterprise content management and business process management domain. We have about 1,000 plus installations, customer base in 50 countries across vertical. We are credited with some of the largest implementations in the world. We have about 1,300 plus as employee strength, and we are very focused in terms of our R&D effort in this domain. We are certified for various excellences. We have made our country proud in a way that we are the only organization in Asia who are there in the Gartner's and Forrester Magic Quadrant. And there are so many things. We have had the world's largest implementation with us. We are the only software product company to file various patents in this technology domain. We are number 1 in banking in India. 9 out of 10 top banks are using our system. Similarly, in insurance, 7 out of top 10 insurance companies are using our solution. We are market leaders in BPO. All leading BPOs are using our platform to serve their customers. And this is just a quick snapshot in terms of our partner network. I thank all of you who are there from all these organizations to whom we partner and work. So we have about 122 partners across the globe, which includes all leading SIs from India and outside. We have our partner portal where you can come and register. The address is visible here on the screen. So with this, I would like to close the presentation part of this session, and would like to thank all of you to attend this session, and now we can have question answer around this session. Mohini, over to you.
Thanks for the insightful presentation. Let's quickly take up the questions now. Please read out the questions and their answers so that all our users may listen to the commendable insights.
So I have a question from Vivekananda. The question is that what is TAT? So TAT stands for turnaround time. So with these technologies, the idea is that the organizations become more agile. As they get the control of their content, their turnaround time to any request of customer, becomes better. So there is a question from Raja Jeevan Kumar. When the handwritten documents are scanned or photographed, is there any way to automatically identify the values in the field with the ability to edit the value when the system becomes? So yes, the technologies are there. Yes, the technology assists this sort of use case where a handwritten document can also be extracted, but the output, the quality of extraction vary. The better it is written, say if you see you fill up the examination form, it is the square boxes at particular places, you fill it properly. More accurately you fill the data, better the results will be. But the answer is yes, the options are available.
So another question is from Raja Jeevan Kumar, where he is asking about whether the digital asset management provides capabilities of automatically extracting the indexes. Yes, whenever you upload any audio video files into the system, some of the key metadata elements like the sites, like the author and all those things can be automatically extracted, and then all the eSIM solutions provide these kind of capabilities, and these can be used for searching those component and solutions.
So the question we have from Mr. Amit Dwivedi, who is from our system, and he is asking to get into more details. So definitely, sir, we will get in touch with you, and we will provide more details around how the content management can be done for your organization. Thank you so much for attending this webinar. There is another question similar to the handwritten documents. So I think I have answered it.
Then there is another question related to adapters for integration with CRM solutions. So yes, from our eSIM suite point of view, we have ready-made adapters for various CRM solutions available out of the box.
Another good interesting question from Mr. Amit Garg, who is asking that is it like SharePoint or better than SharePoint technology while handling documents? So yeah, it is like SharePoint, but it is much better when it comes to the scalability. So the positioning of this product line is for enterprise at enterprise level. So it has the support for hosting millions and billions of documents without any impact on performance. And it also has imaging options inbuilt.
Another question from Abhishek Tripathi, where he's asking for open source tool being used in ECM. So the ECM suite that we were showing you, that is Newgen ECM suite, does not use any third-party open components. We have the IPR of all the components that we position as an ECM suite.
So one question from Mr. Abhishek Mishra is asking what repository you use to store data. So we use any standard RDBMS for storing metadata, and for storing the binary of content we have our own image server, which is again scalable in architecture, and it can host billions of documents.
So another question is from Gautam, where he's asking about the cloud, whether we can put enterprise content management on cloud. Yes, enterprise content management are one of the leading technologies which are available on cloud. And the multi-tenant architecture of the systems provides us the capability where we can support multiple customers through the same ECM instance. And another question is from Devapriya Sen, where he is asking whether Newgen provides some ECM BPM trainings. Yes, through our partner and channel network, we provide various level of certifications, that is level 1, level 2, level 3 certifications for various individuals on our ECM and BPM platform. So you can contact at our partner portal for the same.
There is a question from Mr. Naresh, who is asking, this technology is foolproof or some exceptions are there in some cases. So the technology is very proven, very established, and it coordinates with various other technology or platform level components when it comes to security or performance. So if the fundamental architecture is built rightly, then there is no glitches that you see in any implementation.
So another question is from Ashish Mishra, is asking about what kind of versionings are supported. So both we support versioning in terms of where you can have a minor version created for any document or content you modify through check-in, check-out mode, or there can be major versions also available in the system.
So another question from Mr. Sundra Raman. We are using mail client Microsoft Outlook or Microsoft or Outlook Express. How PST or DBX file can be protected in ECM?
So for these kind of solution where you want to archive your emails or business emails into the system, we have a solution called as OmniMail, through which you can configure and archive all your client emails and related emails into the system for long term, and then you can have an ECM interface for retrieving those emails from our system.
So there is a question from Mr. Guru Prasad Padmanabhan. He is asking a very interesting question, very valid question. Will this be useful for manufacturing sector in handling their asset related like drawing, operational data, maintenance record, etc.?
So this is a very relevant question in terms of many of our leading manufacturing organizations, especially like you have seen the logos of MDL and HAL. They are archiving all their drawings, shipbuilding related documents and other maintenance records into the ECM. So all those kind of formats or documents, this platform is format agnostic, and you can archive all these kind of content into the system.
So there is a question from Mr. Amit Dwivedi. He is asking, is it possible in future no need to submit hard copy documents for the purpose of verification? So yes, it is possible. Technologies are enabling it. So things like digital signature are also playing a key role here. But it might take time, and specifically at some areas where the rules and regulations are not so established, it might take more time.
And secondly, if you must have seen in scenarios where like solutions like Zappin can be used, where user can come to your verifier can come to your premises and directly take a snapshot of the document. So then in those cases you don't need to submit the hard copies.
And there is a question from Abhishek Mishra, who is asking IBM FileNet versus OmniDoc. So any day OmniDoc. Can you brief about security administration of
So in terms of security, we provide multi-level of security features. So as asked by Naresh, I'll just briefly outline various security features that we provide. So there is the solution supports various level of password policies for user authentication. Then you have right-based access, where multi-level of rights can be configured, like read, create, modify, delete, annotate, and then the system can be run on SSL and FTPS kind of infrastructure, and it has been tested for various web vulnerabilities, and it complies to OS guidelines, and therefore it has been tested for cross-site scripting and other brute force attack and other all those kind of vulnerabilities. and then it can be integrated with any Active Directory and other identity management solutions for high level of authentication and other things.
So there is another very interesting question from Mr. Sundara Raman. Is such solutions are relevant to power generation companies? So yes, sir, the solutions are very relevant to power generation companies, and we are also we have customers in this segment. And just a quick snapshot that we are doing a kind of project document management for this organization, where if a new plant is under construction, we have a plan where and what kind of document will come in and need to be shared with either consultant or for review or for approval. So there is a set of project management or task management. There is a set of rules and policies in terms of how the document management will be done in the context of this, and then you have review and approval cycles automated.
So there's another question from Amit Trivedi, who is asking that he is in our system international. He wants to know how the content management can help. So content management is relevant to any organization, be it manufacturing, be it BFSI, be it in IT. So you have all the departments, legal, HR, and other department. All the content generated from those departments can be archived into the solution.
A question from Raja Jeevan Kumar. When we are referring to digital asset management, does the ECM provide the capability to create the automatic indexes based on content? For instance, I think
so this is the same question where I told you when you upload an audio video file, automatically certain content from the metadata attached to the audio video file can be extracted, like the type, size, the time, the author, and all those details.
Another interesting question is, can you please elaborate how text analytics is applicable for enterprise content management? And what kind of text analytics are we talking about here? Can you provide us an example on the same? Very good question. Now, text analytics has multiple application areas. So I take a couple of them to make my point more clear. So first, and traditional usage of text analytics is how you automatically classify content. So suppose you do a discovery of data within your organization and you want to categorize those content in some sort of broad categories so that it can be either sorted out or selected for further scrutiny. So this is one area where the text analytics is used. Another and more recent example is that suppose your repository, you want to integrate it with the social media, and there are enormous use cases then. If you have your web page on Facebook and any request, if suppose the bank has a web page, Facebook page, and a request for credit card comes in, then using analytics we can do is that it can be appropriately routed to the concerned team, and then subsequent workflow can take over for processing of that request.
Were the only questions. I'm really thankful to our guest speaker for conducting this webinar. It was indeed a great session. I would also like to thank all our participants for their support in making this webinar a success. The recording of this webinar will be available on techgig.com by tomorrow. Thank you all.
Thank you.
So in case you have any other questions, you can send it to Arpan, arpan.bansal, arpan.bansal@newgen.co.in.